Hi, my name is Brandon, and I'm an alcoholic and addict in recovery. If you are in a 12-step program, then you probably heard the phrase, it works if you work it. Other programs of recovery also emphasize the need for work in order to achieve long-term recovery and sobriety. It takes work to stay centered in the way that we need to in order to achieve long-term recovery, long-term sobriety. And so that's why it's emphasized so much. A lot of people ask what the work is, and there's a lot of different aspects to it. Helping others is certainly a big part of the work. Attending meetings on a regular basis to have fellowship with other people is another aspect of the work. But for me, a big part of the work has come in uh, little activities throughout the day that I have to pay attention to and that I have to really get involved in certain ways. And that's what I'm going to read about some today from The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. We're going to talk about the little things that we have to do in order to maintain recovery and sobriety. So, reading from the book on page 96, he says, begin with the little things. For example, somebody says something to you that you don't like, or worse yet, doesn't acknowledge you at all. You're walking along and you see a friend. You say hello to them, but they just keep walking by. You don't know if they didn't hear you or if they actually ignored you. You aren't sure if they're mad at you or what's going on. Your mind starts going a mile a minute. Good time for a reality check. There are billions of people on this planet, and one of them didn't say hello to you. Are you saying that you can't handle that? Is that reasonable? Use these little things that happen in daily life to free yourself. In the above example, you simply choose not to get involved in the psyche. Does that mean you stop your mind going around in circles trying to figure out what's going on? No. It simply means that you are ready, willing, and able to watch your mind create its little melodrama. Watch all of its noise about how hurt you are and how could anybody do that. Watch the mind try to figure out what to do about it. Just marvel at the fact that all of this is going along inside simply because someone didn't say hello to you. It's truly unbelievable. Just watch the mind talk and keep relaxing and releasing. Fall behind the noise. So, this description of a very minor interaction with somebody and a very small part of the day, this is a great example of the type of work that I find myself doing a lot. So, becoming cognizant of what's going on inside your head, and being able to step back, watch that, and then decide what to do about it has become an incredibly important part of my recovery. And I like his suggestion here. You know, a lot of times when I find myself causing a lot of problems for myself, it's when something's going on in my mind and I try to get in there and resolve it. So, you know, I get upset about something, or I get jealous of somebody, I get some envy, or I get prideful about something, whatever we're talking about, and I start to get uncomfortable mentally. I try to get in there and fix it and say, okay, well, let's think through this and let's try to untangle all of this. And that creates more anxiety and more issues when one of the things that I can do is just watch, just sit back and watch and look at all the crap that my mind does and say, wow, look at it doing that, and then not get involved in it. And it's kind of weird for some of us who have been involved in the mind's melodrama for our entire lives. It's kind of weird to take that perspective and just say, well, I'm just going to let it do its thing. I'm not going to get involved and I'm not going to get all worried about it. I'm just going to let it do its thing and watch from over here and get a little distance between me, the person who's watching, and the mind as it works. But give that a try and see what happens. Now, it's you have to work to maintain that kind of perspective throughout the day. And that's where, for me, the work comes in, is that, I have to do things throughout the day that help me maintain this perspective. One of the things I start my day with is mindfulness meditation, where I'm really focusing on my breathing. And what happens is I'll focus on my breathing and then my mind will wander off. Something will come in and my mind will wander off. And it's a good way to practice recognizing when the mind does that and letting it wander away and gently bringing my focus back to my breath. That's a good way of practicing this that translates to then throughout the day, recognizing when your mind is kind of running away with you and stopping and bringing your attention back to just being in the seat of consciousness, as Singer talks about in the book, just watching your mind. Another thing that I will do sometimes is I will got some great advice from one of my mentors in recovery to stop before I get in the car in the morning. Stop and listen to the birds. And this is a very simple thing that helps us to get into the habit of stopping what we're doing and focusing on something else. Not only does it allow me to appreciate nature and appreciate the world around me, but it allows me to get out of my head. And it kind of forces me to say, okay, wait a second, let's stop being involved with whatever's going on in the mind, whatever's happening right that second. Let's stop that and focus on something else, and something that's usually much more pleasant and relaxing than whatever's going on between my ears. So these are the kinds of little things that you can do to practice mindfulness in a way that allows you to start incorporating this work into your daily life. Because it's this minute to minute work that I found to be critical in my long-term recovery. I have really found that, a lot of my success in recovery is due to these kinds of little things and paying attention to when my mind runs away with me and when I start to get, for instance, this morning, I got envious of somebody. I saw a picture on social media of an old friend, and I got envious. Normally I would try to logic my way out of that feeling. Normally I would try to think, their lives might be miserable. You only see certain things on social media. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Just don't get involved. Just let your mind be envious and just watch it and, think about how crazy it is that you can feel that way just by looking at a picture out of it, completely out of context of anything else. And that can arouse those feelings. Don't get involved. Let it do its thing. Refocus yourself on what you're doing. If you follow a program of recovery, more than likely what you're doing should be focused on what's the next right thing to do in my life. If you keep redirecting yourself in that direction, all of a sudden you find this energy start to flow through you that really helps propel you forward in a way that you probably never have experienced before. And that's where the good stuff starts. But it all starts with this little minute by minute work that we have to do in order to keep our minds in the right place in a way that we never did during our active addiction. That's it for this chapter. I'll be back here tomorrow with more. In the meantime, have a great day.